Well, it's almost time for one of the state's biggest politics and policy events, and the Texas Tribune Festival, also known as Tribfest. It will be a series of panel discussions focused on politics, public policy, as well as the news. And joining us this afternoon is Evan Smith, CEO of the Texas Tribune. Evan, thank you so much for being with us.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
So a packed lineup, but who are you bringing in this time around as some of those big name speakers?
Well, the thing I love about this festival, and it's especially the case this year, is there's something for everybody. For people on the left, on the more progressive end of our politics, there's Hillary Clinton, Jamie Raskin, Gavin Newsom, Beto O'Rourke. For people who might be a little bit more conservative, there's Liz Cheney, Glenn Youngkin, Dan Crenshaw, Asa Hutchinson, the governor of Arkansas. There is Ted Cruz. We have Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, but we have, people left, right, and center at this event. We have a number of policy experts. We have state and local leaders, as well as national leaders, the Supreme Court Chief Justice in Texas, Nathan Heck, the Comptroller, Glenn Hager, the Speaker, Dade Phelan, but the mayors of Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. It is really a wonderful event. If you're a policy wonk or a political junkie, this is definitely 3 days for you.
It certainly is. And what headlines in really the political world do you expect to dominate this year's event? So many to choose from, right?
Right. I think there are three conversations going on simultaneously. One is about the last legislative session, which was quite significant in Texas. You had meaningful legislation on everything from abortion and voting to guns. I think the second conversation is the 2022 elections, which by the time we gather in Austin at the end of this week will be about 6 weeks away from happening. You were just talking about poll data in those races. We'll be talking about the meaningful races on Election Day. And then the third conversation is about the next legislative session just around the corner and what we can expect from that gathering of 140 days in Austin. Now, overlaying that is the national political conversation. We'll have a number of people here who have nothing at all to do with Texas politics, but are more aware of the conversations going on around the country and even some around the world about things like the economy, COVID, global security. So I really think it's going to be up to everybody who attends, and we have thousands planning to attend. What are the things that you care about? If you care about those things, we probably have a session or two or more than that for you.
Okay, so this year is the return of the free day-long open Congress sessions in downtown Austin. Evan, what can people expect from this?
So we've closed Congress Avenue from 11th Street just south of the Capitol down to 7th Street. There'll be 5 tents with 5 programs each on that Saturday, so a total of 25. And you'll have straightforward political conversations with people like Adam Schiff, the congressman from California, in the Punch Bowl News tent. You have a conversation about the reddening of South Texas politically in the Texas Monthly tent with members of Congress from Texas, Tony Gonzalez and Myra Flores. But at the Lone Star tent, elsewhere on Congress Avenue, you have fun conversations with the likes of the NBA Hall of Famer Chris Bosh, the great singer-songwriter Lyle Lovett, and the comedian and actor, former Saturday Night Live cast member Alex Moffat. Come for the politics, stay for the culture. Again, in those 5 tents, something for everybody.
All right, and then on a personal note, Evan, this will be your last Tribfest as CEO of the Texas Tribune. How are you going to spend it? What are you most looking forward to? I know it's been amazing to watch this evolve.
Well, I'm going to be spending it working. I'll be moderating over the course of the days in the run-up to and during the festival about 18 different sessions. So I'll be pretty busy, but I'll be looking out at the thousands of people who come downtown to enjoy what we put on, and I'll be so grateful to them for participating. The Texas Tribune ultimately is about its mission. The mission is to inform and engage as many Texans as possible, to give them the tools to be more thoughtful and productive citizens. That's what it's always been about. Not about me, not about the Tribune's success so much. It's about the people of Texas and a state that we love enough to be honest about the things that need fixing, and that we love enough to work hard on behalf of to try to get the level of civic engagement up, and in a civil way. We want everybody to talk civilly and respectfully, even if they disagree. That weekend, this weekend, we're going to see thousands of people doing the things that the Tribune was started to do. I will feel gratitude. And then when it's over, I'm going to have a Bloody Mary. That's how it's going to be.
Okay. Evan Smith, CEO of the Texas Tribune, thank you so much, as always, for your time.
Thank you.